pretty eventful day today. Managed to film my first video of doing an extract. Did my German Imperial Eagle IPA. Seems to have come out pretty good. And also bought a new car today. So anyway, without further ado, here's how I do it. So here I am taking out my steeping grains I used, which were 600 grams of Cara Munich III, 400 grams of Carahell, and 300 grams of Carafa Special II. As you can see, I probably should have used a bigger grain bag for that, but hopefully it's turned out okay. It's the work where it was looking quite dark as well. I'm just rinsing this with boiled water at the moment. It's not 100% boiled, it's cooled down. It's probably around 60-70 degrees. I just rinsed it with, I think it was 3 or 4 litres, which is good because I used that to top the pot up to my boil volume, which was 11 litres. I actually have a mark just next to the handle there. You can't see it, the handle's in the road, but halfway where the handle is, that's about 13 litres in that stock pot. It's a 15 litre stock pot. If I had a big one, I don't think the stovetop would actually be able to boil it. So as you can see, I'm just rinsing out the last of the grains, and then okay, so that's the grains rinsed. Having a beer. It's some sort of pale ale. I think it's called Stoker's Pale Ale. So now I'm just going to switch the heat on, bring it up to a boil, and add in the 1 kilo of light dried malt extract to bring up a starting gravity of 1040 for hop utilization, which there's quite a lot of hops in this. The recipe will be at the end if anyone wants to try it. I'll let you know the outcome once I've bottled it. Here's me just drinking some more beer, having a great day. This is after I bought the car, so I was pretty happy. Yeah, it's a Stoke Bomber. I got a case of 6 of these. They're on special at Dan Murphy's, just trying to get rid of them. They're like $20, so bargain. Wasn't really concentrating properly, should have been. Almost had a boil over, but hey, handy bottle of cold Star San. Boil over didn't come within an inch of the top, so that's good. Okay, here comes the first hop addition at 40 minutes, which is 20 grams of Magnum at 14%. I always love the smell of hops. They're just, nothing beats them. If I could have hop deodorant, I'd buy it. Okay, here's the second hop addition at 30 minutes, which is 20 grams of Summit at 17%. So those are pretty much my two bittering hops. Okay, here we have my 15-minute addition, which is another 15 grams of Magnum and the Well Flock tablet, which went in. So that's the 15-minute mark. And then we have the 10-minute mark. We have 25 grams of Cascade, 20 grams of Columbus, and the yeast nutrient all going in. Then we have 35 grams of Columbus here, which is a 5-minute addition with 25 grams of Cascade. As I said, it's a lot of hops. And finally at flame out, another 30 grams of Cascade and 15 grams of Columbus. So I think all up it's about 300 grams, because I've got another 100 grams I think to add in as a dry hop. Now here's just a quick run through of what I got. So I had 2 kilos of dark dried malt to add in. They're double bagged, which can be a pain in the ass sometimes. It's 2 kilos of light dried malt extract, plus there's another 250 grams and 200 grams of wheat malt, plus there was another 100 grams of wheat malt as well, which wasn't shown. So here I go, this is the extra that wasn't in those bags, so now I'm adding them, just giving them a stir, as most people probably know how to do this, but just in case you're interested, I filmed pretty much all of it, so might as well show it. Now here's the dark malt extract that's been added. This now, because there's only about, after the boil, I'm presuming there's about 10 litres of water in there left, maybe less, and adding in all this malt was making it pretty thick. It was almost looking like a Guinness by the time I'd finished. And it was a bit of a pain trying to stir in some of this. And here's another kilo of the dark malt extract. Took me a good 5-10 minutes to add all these extra flame additions of the malt. Just especially when I was getting towards the end ones, as you'll see when I add the next 2 kilos of the light malt that I added. It just took forever to get it to dissolve. But luckily for you, I cut down the video so you don't actually see. I think it's 30 seconds of actual me stirring at the end, or not even that actually, it's 10 seconds. Because 30 seconds would be kind of boring. So here's the 1 kilo dry malt, so I've got 1 kilo left after this. And here you can see it's not mixing in very well. I probably should have just added it into the fermenter. It might have been easier once I've added the water. But this is how I usually do it to help try and sterilize the malt, because the temperature of this is still easy 90+ degrees. So anything in there should be killed, hopefully. And finally, last kilo of dry malt, which was the biggest pain to mix in this one. This took me 5 minutes just on its own, of standing there and stirring and stirring and stirring. And as you'll see, it does start to go, but there was just massive clumps. As you can see here, the stuff's a pain. I probably should start using liquid malt extract. Might be a little bit easier, but it doesn't store as well and it's more expensive, so should have put more effort. But hey, if I'm saving money, I can spend it on other stuff. So here you go, after I finally finished mixing it all in. So you can still see there's a couple of little clumps left, but most of those had gone. By the time I poured it in the fermenter, it completely, there was no clumps left in it at all. But you can see there's a nice dark browny black colour, so it should be a nice dark IPA. To help bring the temperature down real quick, I had pre-boiled the day before, some tap water, boiled, put it into 2 containers, let cool a little bit, and then I chucked them in the freezer. This is just to help to cool the wort in under 30 minutes. You can see it there. Thumbs up. Okay, here it's just sitting in a sink of cool water. There's a bottle there, and then the other side there's another bottle, but you can't see it. It brought the temperature down in about 20 minutes. I got it down to 40 degrees. And while I was waiting, just sanitizing my equipment, as you should always do. Sanitize, sanitize, sanitize. This is just pre-mixed star sand that I'd mixed from when I did the starter. So give it a good shake, and as always, don't worry about the foam. Do not fear the foam. That stuff is great. So from what I've read, it breaks down and there's actually acts as yeast nutrient as well, so yeast should be happy now, happily fermenting away at the moment. And not forgetting the Krausen collar. This is just a little tub I've got to be able to sanitize it easier. And after that, I'd also sanitize the sieve. I should have used my wire mesh sieve. This one pretty much filtered out none of the hop debris. So after I let it sit, I've just gone out and checked it. There's about a good 3-4 inches of trub in the bottom already. So luckily I'm going to transfer that into secondary, so it'll leave all that behind. As you can see here, it's caught a little bit because it's not filtering through, and I just gave it a bit of a shake. You'll be able to see there's a little bit of hop debris now. So I already had 11.5 litres in the fridge for a couple of days, so it's at 4 degrees. So when the wart's being added at 40, and I'm adding 11 litres of 4-degree water, brought the temperature down to 24 degrees, which is perfectly acceptable. And I pitched the yeast at 24, I think it was. So all up, this brought it up to a final volume of about 26, which I then topped up again because the amount of trub in the bottom, I topped it up to 28 litres to make up for that. And as always, given the wort a bit more of an aeration, don't have an air stone or an oxygen tank, so gotta do it the old fashioned way with an old spoon. But the sieve I used should have aerated it quite a bit as well, and just checking the temperature and the volume. As I said before, it's 24 degrees and topped up to 28 litres. Here's the final gravity I got, which was 1086. It was supposed to be 1080, but I overshot a little bit. Here's the yeast starter I made the other day. Gave it a little swell. All the yeasty goodness. This is the second time I've used this yeast. I harvested it from my last batch of porter. And finally we chuck in the yeast and boom, it's done. The only thing I forgot was bam, and there goes my stir bar. So it looks like I'm going to have to wait 2 weeks to get that back, but luckily I don't need it, so I can just sit in there. Okay guys, well there you have it. That's how I do my batches. It should be quite interesting how this IPA comes out. As I said before, it's got quite a lot of hops in it. The total of hops is 300, just over 300 grams, which for 20 odd litres is quite a lot. 100 of those will be dry hopped, which is 50 grams of Columbus and 50 grams of Cascade. As I only got 10 grams of Amarillo, so Cascade is a good second. I love Cascade. It's basically my go-to hop, and it's readily available, so it's not hard to get. So if anyone who's interested, I'll chuck up the recipe right here, down next to my head. So I'll move my head over so you can all read it. First of all, I steeped 600 grams of Cara Munich III, 400 grams of Carahell, and 300 grams of Carafa. Did that at about 67 to 70 degrees for half an hour. Then I added in a kilo of light dry malt extract, which brought the boil volume gravity to 1040, which is where you want it for your hop utilization. I did a 50-minute boil. At 40 minutes I added 20 grams of Magnum. At the half-hour mark I added 20 grams of Summit. Then at the 15-minute mark I added half a well-flocked tablet with 15 grams of Magnum. And then at 10 minutes I added 25 grams of Cascade with 20 grams of Columbus and their yeast nutrient, 35 grams of Columbus with 25 grams of Cascade, and at flame out 30 grams of Cascade and 15 grams of Columbus. Love those hops. And then I added in 2.25 kilos of light dry malt extract and 2 kilos of dark dry malt extract with 300 grams of wheat dry malt extract for your head retention. And I fermented this with London Ale, which I'd harvested from the porter I did last week. I made a yeast starter of that as well. So hopefully it works. If there's no activity by tomorrow, I'm just going to dump in 2 packs of US-05. So anyway, should be good. If anyone's got any tips or anything, comments about how I brew, chuck some comments below. Anyway, check out my Facebook page, which is right here. Till next time, thanks for watching Fraser Breweries. Cheers, 17. Have another home brew, mates.